In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
All right, folks. Well, Host Monkey is on the loose again. I could have swore I shipped that stupid thing back to JD's house. But anyway, this is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. It's a couple minutes past the hour right here in beautiful downtown Oklahoma City. I will be joined here in a couple of minutes by my usual Monday co-host who's making a return appearance, Mr. Jared Day, and also the founder of, I believe it's Invincible Vets, but I'll let Jared do the official introductions here in just a couple minutes. Now, of course, as we always do, want to give a quick shout-out to the affiliates in addition order. So, of course, there's my home network, the one I built, the one that started it all, the Spark Radio Network. Then the show was initially picked up by K98Talk.com, and I am now the programming director of that little monster. And then, of course, we were then picked up by, I believe SHR Media was next, but I could be wrong. And on the Spark and K98 Talk, the show can be heard every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 6 Central, 7 Eastern. SHR Media carries us at 11 in the morning on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and of course that is Eastern Time. And then we have the next on the list, I do believe, was AMFM247.com, where we can be heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in 8 low-power terrestrial markets, as well as their live 365 stream, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 Eastern. Then we have Red State Talk Radio, which this show can be heard once a week over there, which is Sundays at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. And then we also have High Point Radio out of Montauk, New Jersey, where this show can be heard every weeknight. I'm actually not sure when they run me. The owners never told me. But I have caught it there before. I think we usually start at about 10 Eastern over there. But I'm not 100% positive. All right, so that pretty much gives a rundown of everywhere that you can hear the show live streaming. Of course, we're also available on SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, FM Player, and there's at least one or two more that I'm forgetting, but that's what happens when you try to do all this stuff live. All right, so we're going to take a really quick break here for just a couple minutes. Then we will be right back with both Jared Day and the founder of Invincible Vets. Don't go anywhere, folks. Lots of show.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
All right, folks, we're back. We're live. And again, it's Monday. We've survived another one. Now, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn the first couple of minutes of the show over to my regular Monday co-host, Mr. Jared Day. Take it away, sir.
Oh, it's good to be back. It's been a while. Today we have a veteran from Phoenix. His name is Ricky. I'll introduce him in a second. I just want to say he is doing some amazing work here in Phoenix for veterans. He is a veteran himself, and he's dedicated himself. And with this organization, he started to fight for them to get proper health care and even daily needs just to survive because the situation is so dire. So I'm going to let Ricky tell you about Ricky. Ricky, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much there, Jared. And I also like to thank Rick Robinson. He has the same name as me, so he must be a great guy. Yes. So, and I'll explain a little bit about me. I'm a 15-year veteran and was in the military 15 years and voluntarily separated. Now I became a veteran in 2000. From that time frame, since I was a veteran from 2000 up to 2015, I've been basically fighting for excellent health care at the VA system, and not just for myself, but for all veterans. And, of course, it's been a struggle from that time. As, of course, we know how that is as the news has, generated, information about the problems that we have in the VA system. And those are the things that I'm working on right now to try to straighten those things out and even help the system. I'd rather see a great VA system than to see the VA system removed totally. So that's my thing, and that's why I've created a group called Evincible Vets. And the meaning behind Evincible Vets is it stands for every veteran injured needs compassion, including benefits, liberty, and equality. And we need to make sure that every veteran receives those things after they have, returned from Iraq or from war or wherever they've been, Afghanistan, anywhere in the world serving a great nation. And they should receive these benefits from the VA system. And right now, they are not receiving those benefits. And we need to make sure that they receive those benefits in the near future.
Absolutely. And you've had a rough road on your own. That's how you've gained the experience to know, exactly what's wrong in the system. You know where to go to get the help, and what needs to be done. Now we just have to wait for leadership in Congress, and even with a new president, can make a difference.
Right. And
what's your experience with McCain? Over the last 10 years, you've been fighting this.
Right, exactly. And I've been going, off and on. I've been going to McCain's office since actually 2000 and all the way up until now as we speak, trying to get the system from him. And he just have not been there to give the system to the veterans as we need it. And that's why I decided to jump on board myself with a couple other veterans and make sure that we voice our opinion fully, not just to the state of Arizona, but to the nation as itself. And we need to make a difference. We need to ensure veterans, receive the proper care that they're entitled to. And they've earned this. And they're not, like I said before, they're not getting this care that they need. And we need to change the system. We need to change it now to better the veterans, because we can't afford to lose another veteran any day to suicide or any other kind of, death that's taking place at these VA facilities.
Right. And you actually got to ask McCain some questions. Was it a few months, or was it a while back?
It was early 2014. I was questioning the fact about, telling him that we should, outsource, veterans for non-VA care until we can have a better system designed for us veterans. And when I provided that information to him during the news interview, he informed me that my idea was foolish. But then he turned around 21 days later and informed the news that he came up with a great idea called the choice card, and that veterans should be outsourced to non-VA doctors. And so these are the things that... go ahead, Ron.
Oh.
Go ahead, Jared.
Real quick.
Go ahead, Jared.
receiving the proper care, if you're not receiving the attention that you need, you come to our office or Senator Flake's office, and we will do everything we can to ensure that you get that care. Of course, that's foolish.
And as you can see, Senator John McCain said that idea was foolish.
Yeah.
But it wasn't foolish 21 days.
There you go. It was foolish, Ricky. And then he goes and does it.
Yeah, he told me my idea was foolish, and of course, I reiterated that to his office on several occasions that my idea was not foolish and that we do need to implement that all veterans, are outsourced to non-VA doctors. They have that option. And even with that being said, he took the process and kind of technically to me called it the choice card, which is it should have been called a veteran option card. That means a veteran should have the option to go to the VA system or to a non-VA doctor. But what the choice card does is allow the system to manipulate itself again and delay appointments for veterans, which veterans never get that opportunity to use the choice card. So they have to fight the system once again to even be outsourced to non-VA doctors, which is another problem that we need to resolve within the VA system.
Right.
All right, so hang on just a second. I want to back up for just a sec. Okay, so just to make sure, because that clip did not translate very well, I was hoping it would come through a little better. But just to make sure everybody who's listening heard basically what was just said. Basically, that was when you, Ricky, were talking to Senator McCain about your idea of allowing veterans to go out and seek outside medical assistance from the VA, but it still technically basically be covered by the VA, at least if I'm understanding. And he told you at that time that that was a foolish idea. And yet 21 days later, he basically managed to come up with basically the exact same idea and put his name on it.
That is absolutely correct. And that's the way I'd interpret it, and I even gave them that information before that date. I encouraged them to allow veterans to go outside the VA. I wrote them a letter back in 2013 and informing them about the deaths that was taking place in the VA and the care that they were not receiving, which they signed that letter and gave it back to me. So I mentioned all of this to them even before I mentioned that date about outsourcing veterans to non-VA doctors. So, yes, to me, he took my idea, ran with it, went to Congress, and quote-unquote, they came up with the idea to call it the choice card. Even though they ran with the idea of the choice card, they did not take the meat of the conversation after that to say this is how you should implement this choice card. So right now the choice card is not working. Is it active? Yes. Is it working properly? No. Not even close.
So basically, just to reiterate to everybody, McCain took the basis of your idea, gutted it, put it under his own name, and now it's basically causing tons of issues instead of actually working properly, which would have likely happened if he would have taken your idea at a whole. I mean, because I have to admit, I don't know about you, but from my perspective, even if it would have wound up with McCain's name on it, if it was an idea that I had proposed to him, even if he said it was stupid, if he took the whole idea and did it and got his name on it, I probably wouldn't have cared that much. But here's my problem with it, and then I'll let you continue. My issue is if I had been in your shoes and I had been sitting with a United States senator who basically said, your idea is stupid, then not only does he take it, he takes it and guts it to make sure that it doesn't really do anything that you wanted it to do in the first place. To me, it seems to me the only foolish person in the room that day was McCain, but I'm not a fan of his anyway.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it also because, on several occasions, even after that time frame, I wanted to make sure that he understood exactly what I was trying to translate to him. And I was telling him about, let's say a veteran gets out of the military involuntarily after 15 years. And I said, do you really agree that a veteran should get out of the military after 15 years involuntarily and not receive a retirement? And he's kind of basically saying, well, that's what veterans, that's what they get. And I was like, I was astonished by his remarks of saying that that's what veteran gets when he is a veteran collecting 100% disability. I just couldn't believe that that's the response that he gave me to my question. So yes, he is taking a lot of my ideas that I've written to his office and probably reading my information and implement it, but it's not implementing it correctly. So yes, the news coverage is there, so it's credible evidence that I gave him that idea. He just should have been more smart about it and utilizing it to the fullest as I was trying to explain it to him.
Now let's take this idea a step further, because he basically just said, yeah, we really don't care what happens to veterans because that's what they get. But this is one of the same guys that talks about, people coming across the border should basically get complete access to everything, which is a complete flip-flop from where he was in both 2008 and 2012. But if you talk to him about it today, he's like, yeah, border, not such a big deal. We should give them everything. But we shouldn't give vets what they deserve. Now, I'm going to ask both of you this question, starting with Jared. If you had your choice, which would you prefer that we fully fund? All illegal immigrants coming across the border? Or would you prefer that we take the money that we're spending on those folks and give it to veterans?
Well, that question, I could answer that if I only had a shred of gray matter in my head. I've been preaching that for years now, about comparing the two and the money spent and who deserves. I mean, it's a complete turned upside down, backwards. It's not American. It's insanity.
And Ricky, what's your stance on that idea?
On my idea, I look at it this way. We can take money, we could allocate it to anywhere we want to allocate it to, whatever process that, any politician feels like is relevant in the news and is going to get them votes. I look at it this way, is bottom line is who protected your country, who served your country. And if anyone could answer that question, then it's simple where your money should be allocated to. And of course, the only final answer you can come up with is your veterans. Our veterans are heroes. We should be taking care of veterans. All veterans are coming back dying. All veterans are coming back with missing arms, missing legs. Those are the ones we should be taking care to a high level standard. And we should not just, treat them as, they just coming back from a third world and we giving them third world country care. We cannot do that to our veterans. And that's where our money should be allocated to.
I completely agree. I think part of it, honestly, is a symptom of the military. Because if you look, there are actual invoices that list most servicemen as replaceable parts. They actually have invoices. The one that's the most prevalent that I remember and I know about firsthand because I've had several friends that were in the Army, where they actually talk about there's a line item in an invoice where you can indicate how many new soldiers that you need. That's part of the problem. It seems like our veterans are not necessarily being viewed as heroes, and folks that are basically the ones standing on the wall so the rest of us can sleep, they're being viewed as replaceable parts.
And of course, listening to Bob McDonald speak about those issues also is they never prepared for veterans to come back from war, meaning that you consider veterans expendable. So they didn't even prepare for that. So when all of these veterans was coming back from war, of course, like the Vietnam War, we was losing more veterans then. But during the Iraq War, we had more veterans returning. The VA could not keep up with the number of veterans coming back because they considered the veterans expendable, and they did not create a proper VA healthcare system for those veterans because they did not expect that to happen. They did not prepare for this. So it hit them right in the face of now what should we do about this issue and this problem that they've created. So yes, our government needs to revise the entire system and create a system that actually takes care of those young kids who have served this country.
All right, so quick question, then I'm going to see if Jared has anything he wants to add to the conversation, and then we are a few minutes away from a break. At this point, what besides the idea that McCain basically stole, what are some of the other things that your organization is working on to help make things better overall for veterans, whether it be their health care or overall quality of care or whatever the case may be?
Right, and here's the thing about this. Before we can start anywhere, it must start within the organization. It must be rebuilt first, and that's meaning with, the top level of employees. And that's where a lot of the issues are taking place. Before veterans can get proper health care, before veterans can get proper medical equipment that they need, we need to put individuals in place who actually care about the veterans. And the people that they have, especially at the Phoenix VA facility right now, are not those individuals who actually have the veterans first. They do not consider the veterans first. You still have top employees approving a falsification of medical records. You have top employees approving of doctors falsifying medical records and putting negative annotations in veterans' records. Those are the things that we need to stop, right away. You still have denying appointments with long wait times of appointments. When those things are fixed within the VA system and you're putting the right employees in place, then we can see a system revise itself and be more productive for each and every veteran. And it can happen if it's done correctly. You have to have the right people in place. If you don't have the right people in place, it's not going to work.
All right, and Jared, do you have anything you want to add so far?
The host monkey got out, I guess. I've known Ricky for a few weeks, so I'm just new to his organization, but I've told him that however I can help get the word out about any events or like what we're doing with these podcasts, and we're going to do some articles because we need to get the attention of mainstream media. They need to pick up on this because there's lots more cases than just Ricky's, and it's a huge issue, and it's being overlooked. So I told him, I'm with him. I'm going to help him, and I'm learning about what he's doing as I go. I'm just, getting my feet.
And Jared, I need to mention this real quick before we run out of time. I want to make sure that people know that there's a guy named Ron Nelson. He is a founder called VA is Lying. And he just recently, I think today, he just put up a billboard with the VA is Lying in Arizona. I've been trying to reach out to them to connect with them so we can organize together because we should be fighting for the same things for each and every veteran. So I want to make sure that like you just mentioned, that there's other groups out there. He is one of them. They have 18,000, 20,000 people on their site now, which is growing rapidly each and every day. So we should support that as well as what I'm doing as well.
Yeah, network with like-minded groups. There's definitely strength in numbers.
Of course.
All right, so Ricky, if anybody listening actually wants to find a way to help you, to support you, to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to be able to do that?
All they have to do is remember Evincible Vets. You can find me with this, just by finding me on Facebook, Twitter. You can find my GoFund account also under Evincible Vets. And all they have to do is type in Evincible Vets, and you can find me. They can get information. And if I can't find information, if I don't have it at that time, I will find it for you because I do have people within the VA system, the lower level employees that can provide me the information that I need to give to the veterans. Because there are still employees in the VA system that do care about the veterans, but they're so scared because of the high top level employees, controlling what they say and what they do. So, but even with that said, some of them still keep in contact with me and provide me with the information I need. So if you want to get in contact with me, evinciblevets.com. That's my website. That's going to be up soon. You got Evincible Vets on Facebook. You got Evincible Vets on Twitter. Hit me up, and I'll make sure I take care of each and every veteran to the best of my ability. And like I said, with my GoFund account, I know I requested $375,000. This is not a one-time thing. This is something that I want to set up, and I'm going to prove to the nation that the $164 billion that's allocated to the VA system, I'm going to do more with $375,000 than the VA system can do with $164 billion. And I do repeat that number, $164 billion per year, and they can't get it right.
All right, so at this point, we do have to go ahead and take a break and pay some more bills. I don't necessarily want to monopolize all your time. I don't know what else you have going on today, but you are welcome to hang out after the break if you want. The show typically runs for about an hour, or we can call it at this point. It's up to you. You're the guest.
Okay. I will hold on to see what you guys have to say for a few minutes, and I'm interested in your show as well.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break, folks, and we will be right back here in just a couple minutes, right here on America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, joined today by Jared Day, my usual Monday co-host, and we will probably get into a little bit of what he's been up to when we get a little further into the show before we call it a night. And I am currently joined also by the founder of Evincible Vets. We'll be right back here in just a couple minutes.
A show that will change internet radio as you know it.
Okay, so let's talk about the story, which I think is hilarious. I'm just going to refer to it as the poop plane, because, like, what else are you going to call it? But there was this plane, okay? It took off. It's the British Airways. They were going to Dubai. I have a hard time pronouncing that one.
It was British
anyway,
Airways? It wasn't jet.
British
It wasn't jet poo?
It wasn't.
Couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
I like it. It's this story,
BM
if
Airlines.
we've ever had a story that is up our alley, it's this one. It's bathroom humor up from front to back of the airplane, apparently. They had to turn around to go back to Heathrow because they said the smelly poo in the toilet became unbearable for passengers, and it was so bad. They decided it's so bad that they had to turn around and go back rather than continue their flight. They decided that there wasn't enough Febreze, there wasn't enough anything to handle this.
Maybe they should see a doctor. Is there a GoFundMe for this guy?
It must be a woman, because a woman's going to be mortified and embarrassed. If this is a guy, you know that he's like out there on Twitter and everything else saying, dude, I took down an airplane with how bad that I laid it down.
There wasn't
Not
a woman
girls,
who
girls.
flew on jet poo. She ate so many burritos she didn't know what to do.
So we turned the plane around because they made a big stink. We've just made it into a haiku at the end, but there had to be some
Real Serious Nonsense, Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, now on K98 Talk.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Beyond all the hospitals and doctors and surgeries they need just to survive, they also deserve whatever they need to truly live. All the in-home care and day-to-day help they need to live independently, on their own terms. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs were established to provide these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence, at no cost, for life. So many of them need us, and it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Find out how you can do your part at findwwp.org.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
Hey folks, Slickery Trigger here. I'd like to take a minute to tell you about Rebel Road Tactical. As a defensive pistol instructor, I've had the opportunity to observe many different holster designs and configurations. And one thing is clear. Many of my students won't carry a pistol. Or worse, they'll carry one without a holster at all. Holster designers aren't making holsters for normal people. It seems that most holsters are either expensive piece of gear designed for Rambo or a piece that doesn't fit or function the way real people need it to fit and function. So, like any good Texan, I decided to learn to form kydex and design one myself, one that would fit the needs of average people. The result is the Rebel Road Tactical CRT Modular. The CRT stands for Carry, Range, and Training. Its thin and lightweight curved design minimizes printing and is adjustable to fit just right for superior comfort and function. Check us out after the show at rebelroadconcealed.blogspot.com.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, again joined by my usual Monday co-host, Mr. Jared Day, who's been dealing with some Kelly Ward campaign stuff. We may get into that a little bit later. We still have the founder of Evincible Vets with us, Ricky. Do want to make sure we spend as much follow-up time with him as he is willing to share with us. So when we went to break, you definitely mentioned there were a few more things that you wanted to get in there, so I want to make sure you get a chance to do that before we have to wind down the show.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that veterans know that under Evincible Vets, we are associated with a company called Square and Compass. They have been relentless with us and been by our side supporting us, and we fall under them, which they're out there creating and getting sponsorship as well. So I'd like to greatly appreciate them for what they're doing. And also, like I said, it's what Ron Nelson doing. He's posting the things for VA's Line in Phoenix actually today, and I look like he just posted something recently where the government is probing for invasion of whistleblowers' medical record. So that's a good thing. So what we're doing as veterans, what he's doing on his end, and what I'm doing on my end, it seems to be working and it seems to be getting attention. And hopefully this won't be blown under the rug again like it did almost a year ago. Maybe we can keep this going and make sure that this does not leave the media.
Well, I mean, up until now, I haven't really been that familiar with what it is that you're trying to do. Jared actually brought it to my attention today, but after spending the last few minutes talking with you, I will tell you that anything you need from me, you just let me know. We'll find a way to help make sure that this happens, because that is one of the things that I have always considered very important, is the fact that nobody's doing enough to take care of the vets. I mean, the veterans are basically just a tool during voting time. It's, well, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. And then when people say the right things and the right combinations, they get votes. And then when it's time to actually do the work, nobody really wants to do it, it seems. And another really scary thing for me about the VA is, if you look, for years, that was basically the Democratic model for how socialized medicine should work. And now all of a sudden, all of these things start coming out that started happening everything kind of started going downhill during the Clinton administration, from the little bit of research that I've been able to do, because of how sharply they cut all the military funding. Because what a lot of folks don't realize is all of that military funding that you're talking about, that doesn't necessarily always all go to tanks, bombs, and guns. It also goes to your veterans. Saying.
Yeah, and like I said, $164 billion, those dollars are technically allocated to the VA system. Of course, they have a total different fund also for, your tanks, guns, and which, that's supported as well. But those funds that are going to the $164 billion for, doctors and staffing and equipment, and they just do not use it properly because the equipment in the VA system is, outdated. We get things like one equipment per 2-3 years, and it's something that makes the news, and that should not happen. We should be a top facility. Every VA should be a top facility. So when you have $164 billion, there's no reason why any VA system should not be operating at 100%.
No, completely agree. I mean, I don't know. I mean, come on. If they can't run it right, let me have $164 billion. I could make my business profitable and probably take care of the veterans all at the same time. I'm just saying.
Exactly, and that's why with my GoFund account, that's why I said with $375,000, and that we talking thousands. I didn't even ask for the millions that is actually needed, but I just want to prove a fact that I can do more with $375,000 in Phoenix, Arizona, than what they're doing with $164 billion nationally. I can cut anything. The process of anything negative taken at the VA, which is my track record, has proven that with all the information I've given to McCain's office, and they utilize that for their benefits and didn't even involve me in the process, which is fine, but I just wish they would come back to me now and say, guess what, we need to hear the rest of your ideas. We need to find out exactly how can we make the VA better for all veterans, and that's what needs to be done.
Okay, so I have a question. Let's pretend for just a second that you are talking to John McCain. If they came back to you and actually asked for the rest of your ideas, what are some of the things that you would talk to them about?
Well, I'm going to first tell him he needs to resign, so that's going to be the first thing.
Amen. Thank you. Yeah, definitely get that one in there. Just saying.
Yeah, we need to replace him with someone who's, I know for sure, that's adamant about veterans. Like I said, I've been dealing with Senator McCain's office for 15 years, and I have not got a straight response answer from him yet. So there's nothing he really can, at this point, that he can provide for me, because I've already made that step to provide it for the veterans. But I do know of a Senator Kelly Ward who has stepped up. She saw my post on Facebook. She contacted me. Let's have a meeting. She met with me. She went with me, to a facility to make sure that I was getting the right proper care. She has done more for me, on a personal level than he has done in 1 day or in 30 days that he had done it over 15 years. So that's my thing, is what I would inform him to do is please step aside and let someone who cares about all the veterans take over. And not only she cares about the veterans, she cares about the state of Arizona. So that we need new regime in place, at his level, and of course at the level at the VA. We need to fire those and resign those people and put people in place who actually care about the veteran. That's what they need to do first. And guess what? The plan that I have in place, the operation will work.
All right, so yeah, I mean, step one, McCain resign. I like that plan. But in the event that you had let's just look at this from another perspective. Let's say that step one works. McCain either resigns or Ward wins the next election. What if someone came to you and said, okay, we know you've been prominent in a lot of things that you didn't get credit for. How can you help us make this work? What would be a brief outline of some of the things that you would like to do if given that opportunity?
If given that opportunity, where they need to start from is, it starts with Congress. They need to go back to the military. Everyone is working at the tail of the dragon, where they should be working at the head of the dragon. The only way to become a veteran is you have to be in the military. So they need to start with the military. Once these veterans come back, once these military people come back and become veterans, at that point in time is when they should be, instead of this choice card that they call it, for my idea, it's supposed to be called a veteran option card. And that gives a veteran the option to go to the VA, or the veteran has the option to go to any non-VA doctor of their choice. And I believe anyone who has fought for their country deserves that right to have the best medical care to them, readily available to them. So that's what should be taking place with the veterans, and that's not taking place. They should implement that. Once they implement that, you will have a great system, because the VA will not be overloaded. You can outsource some of those veterans so you can get the proper care inside the VA and the proper care outside the VA. And then you'll have two resources fighting for those veterans to be at their facilities. You will have that. And we just don't have that right now. And we just need to have better, I would encourage them to have better equipment at each and every VA facility. We don't have it. I would encourage them to provide more funding to each inside the VA for the veterans, instead of going to, the top, paying $200,000-$300,000 to a top employee. We don't need that. Veterans need more help with them personally, instead of, making painting the walls and doing things like that. We need to actually put the money into the veterans' hands, and that's not what's taking place. Veterans don't get the education they need. And most people don't even know that. Sometimes it's hard for a 100% disabled veteran to go get an education. They just do not educate those type of veterans. And that's another thing that that's a big concern of mine. Educate your veterans first, no matter what.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned the salaries, because this is a little bit off topic for a second, but it's going to come back around, I promise. I've been in a Twitter argument all day with a liberal co-host of mine that I do a show on Saturdays, and basically one of the things that I tried to show him was an article that you, Jared, actually had brought over from, I believe it was the Washington Times, talking about the EPA employees, that some of them, like I believe it was 10 of them, have an annual salary of $1 million a year or more. I don't understand how there can be government employees anywhere in the system that have a larger salary than the President of the United States.
Yeah, 200 federal agents that carry the ARs and the SMGs weapons. They make $217,000 a year, and they don't need those weapons to go test the water.
Well, that's salaries and training, but there's at least 10 in that article that I read earlier that are making $1 million a year or more working for the EPA. Why is there any government agency that's paying someone more than the commander-in-chief makes in their salary? Because that's money that could be allocated elsewhere. Most of the people that are doing those government jobs already have, let's face it, a lot of folks in the government sector didn't start there. A lot of them already have retirement plans in one form or another. Do they really need to be making $1 million a year? Especially when we have folks that are dogging the private sector every day about the money that those folks make at the top. When you've got somebody wasting government money on $1 million a year salary, who honestly, as a government employee, deserves to make more than, I would say the max that anybody should make would be probably about $175,000 a year as a government employee.
And I agree. I highly agree with that theory.
I mean, it's just one of those things where it doesn't make sense to me that we have all of this money that's going to all these top-level positions when we have, and let's not even talk about medical care. Let's talk about veterans as a whole. How many of them are homeless right now? And we're paying people salaries of $1 million a year with taxpayer money? No.
Exactly. Yeah,
we've got huge in Phoenix. It's really bad. Yeah, and that money, just think of if you shaved off $900,000 off of that, or no, $825, and they got their $175. Look what you could do with $825,000. Ricky said, "Give me $375,000, I'll do more than the federal government would do with $164 billion."
I mean, look, I'm not saying it's a perfect idea, but there's plenty of places. I think one of the biggest ones is up somewhere in Utah, and I saw a story where it was happening again somewhere else, where they're building little one-room homes for people that are homeless to just basically say, here, use this, get back on your feet. Why can we not start? I mean, look, let's be honest. Cut everybody. Anybody that's making more than $175,000 a year that's a federal employee, I'm sorry, that's your cap from this point forward. Any money that was going to them starts going towards building these little areas where we have high homeless populations, whether it's veterans or not, because the majority of them are already veterans anyway. There's studies that prove that time and time again. The veterans that are dealing with PTSD and all the other issues that they have that are not getting the proper care they need through the VA are winding up homeless. So let's attack it from multiple angles. Let's do exactly what Ricky's been talking about and fix the healthcare problem, but at the same time, give them some dignity. For God's sake, they have earned it. No veteran should be sleeping in a cardboard box. The fact that we want to spend money on people that have come here illegally and give them homes and shelter and education and healthcare and food, and we're watching our veterans sleep on the streets, something is seriously wrong with this country.
Seriously wrong with this country. And I told Jared that earlier, in the other interview, like we should, veterans should be celebrated, not tolerated. And that's what I see that's taking place with veterans coming back. It seems like that the system is tolerated with our veterans, so we're trying to tolerate you. And I don't believe that we should be celebrated and should be, veterans should be put up on a pedestal. Thank you for serving our country. So guess what? Your service is now done. It's our time to serve you. And, of course, so much money is being allocated to some of these top employees making over $200,000 and some $1,000 a year. Even with your PTSD counselors, they're making over $100,000 a year. to administer, medication to veterans who take this medication and can never be productive in life again. I've seen this at the VA, and I've experienced this. Not only seen it, I've experienced this myself. So a doctor will prescribe you medication that will keep you a zombie all day long. How can a veteran be productive if a psych counselor is prescribing that kind of medication daily?
Well, come on, let's face it. And this is not because I know anybody personally, so I'm not slamming anybody in that profession. But my experience overall with the psychiatric and psychological profession, they are the shortest distance between 2 points in straight lines kind of folks. And if they can make $100,000 a year to make a bunch of zombies happy on medication, that's exactly what they're going to do.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I implemented a plan to one of them. And, at the VA, Phoenix VA, I said, instead of so much medication, why don't you put these veterans in program where they can be productive, like put them in, give them things that they need at home, give them a massage chair or something that can relieve the stress off their body. And the young lady told me, there's no way you can have money in that process. We can't do that. And that was actually told to me, and I'm like, wow, so I guess this system is designed to keep the veterans, that's their job. They're making $100,000, so they're not willing to leave that job. In order for them to keep making that kind of money, you have to keep veterans on medication.
Well, exactly. It's no different than the rest of the government problems that everybody wants to talk about and gripe about and complain about all day long. There are quick, easy fixes for most of them, but none of the government wants to deal with those, because if we fixed everything that was broken, we wouldn't necessarily need the government anymore. So exactly. You want to know the real reason, if we back all the way up to about 10 minutes into the show, the real reason McCain told you your idea was stupid was because he wanted to knock you down. Because if you get enough people's attention and you get enough people to realize that you can do this without the help of the government, it's going to be one less thing that the government has control over. And let's face it, no matter what side of the aisle you're on anymore, the people that are in D.C., that's all they care about is keeping control. It's evident in the way they're treating the veterans right now, because they're either keeping them on the streets, because we know that we could take care of them if we decided to, but we're choosing not to, or they're keeping the ones that are not in the streets and actually can manage to get access to health care so heavily medicated that they can't function. And again, it's just such a poor reflection on our society when you really stop and think about everything that's going on between how we treat the people that have given their lives in service to others and put themselves below everybody else and said, I am here to make sure that we stay safe as a nation, and that's what I feel I was called to do. And then you have the fact that basically people can just basically sell off baby body parts like they're nothing. And it all ties back to the same problem. We do not give a damn about our fellow human beings anymore. And it's evident in everything that we do, that we've witnessed every single day for about the last 10 to 15 years.
Yes, yep. And you're absolutely right. Again, we do not care about the human being starting from birth all the way up until, if they grow up to serve our country. There's no continuity to make sure that we have a system designed to take care of each and every veteran that comes through the system. Yeah, to make sure that they reap the benefits of whatever the 1% is reaping. I believe, like if you put it this way, whatever health care that the 1% of the Congress is using, why can't the veterans have that same health care? And if they can't have that same health care, then you, congressmen, you step down and you go to the VA system and see exactly what's taking place within the system, get that same health care, and I guarantee you they will revise that system, and it would only take them 30 days to revise it.
Oh, yeah, we use the same argument all day long, almost every day here on K98 Talk when it comes to Obamacare. I'm a firm believer that every single congressman and senator should have to put their entire family on Obamacare until they figure out how to get it fixed. Because that stuff's broken. You want to talk broken, that's broken. Right. The VA is not much better anymore, but, at this point, we're all about to wind up being in the same boat if we don't figure out how to fix some of this stuff, because we're giving the government more and more control, and the only thing the government proves anytime we give them control is they don't know how to handle it.
Exactly, and they don't know. And the thing about it is we need more people. I feel like we need more people like me to be, injected into the, the political arena or the process. I just care so much about veterans. I just don't have time to run for that political arena or get involved with that. But I just care so much here about our veterans, and not just veterans. I care about even our homeless civilians. We need to do a better job of taking care of everyone in this nation. But when we can't even take care of our veterans who have served this country, everyone else is going to suffer. They're going to suffer at the hands of the government.
Well, yeah, it's one of the biggest things that I first started talking about, when some of the truth that had been going on with the VA for years that nobody was talking about because of the big run-up on the ACA, and everybody talking about how great it was going to be because you could just look at the VA and see how well it ran. It's no different than what happened with the Clinton administration in the late 90s, early 2000s, where they were basically coming out of office, and we found out that for years they had been propping up Enron because they wanted to give Gore the best shot possible at the election. This same thing had been going on in the government for years with the VA, but nobody was talking about it because nobody was allowed to, because we couldn't make the VA look bad, because that was what the Democrats pointed to anytime they started talking about the Affordable Care Act. And then once they got rammed down everybody's throats, all of a sudden all these stories started really, really coming out about just how bad things had gotten at the VA. And that's again what terrifies me, is we have gotten to the point where we care so little about anybody but our individual selves anymore that we don't care about our veterans. We don't care about our homeless. And part of that is the government's fault, because as soon as the government started making programs like food stamps and housing assistance and everything else, you know how many people I talk to on a daily basis that I'll say, hey, when's the last time you went and helped out at a food bank? Or when's the last time that you gave some of your time, or you donated some time to do this? You know how many times I hear, hey, that's what my tax dollars are for?
2 to 3%, if that. You probably never heard it.
Well, I've never heard anybody not tell me that lately. I'll get in conversations at work all the time and be like, hey, I'm going to go to this food bank down on the corner here in the next few days, and you don't live too far from me. You want to come help out? No, that's what my tax dollars are for. Or, even like the stuff that I'm doing right now, most of this stuff is volunteer work. I mean, we're converting it to a business, but a lot of the times when I'm doing the stuff like I'm doing right now, I don't get anything from the host, from the guests. It's just roll of the dice. If somebody's listening and they call the sponsors, I make money. If they're not, then I don't. And, that doesn't matter to me, because it's something that I feel like I need to do. But there are so many people that they don't care anymore. They care about what's on TV and how quickly they can get their food from their microwave to their plate, and what's next on reality TV, and how come my neighbor has a bigger TV than I do. And until we can get away from that mindset, I honestly don't know what we're going to be able to do. What gives me hope is that there are folks like you, because I know for everybody there is like you that actually stands up and says something, there's at least 5 or 6 waiting going, I really want to help with this, but I don't know how. And that's one reason why as soon as Jared said, hey, do you want to have this guy on? I'm like, yes. Because what I hope is over the next few weeks or next few days, as we get this show spread out among all the affiliates, that maybe more and more people, maybe in other states that will hear this and don't have anything like this going in their area, but are having similar problems, will reach out to you about maybe expanding it and getting it to the point where there's programs like the one that you're trying to start in Arizona happening in other states. Because this radio broadcast, actually, by the time it's all said and done, is heard in pretty much every state, and we actually get listened to by folks overseas in the military as well. So you never know who's listening, and you never know who eventually will contact you and say, hey, I'm in Texas, and I want to hear what you're doing there. So what can I do? So
exactly. Feel free to contact me. Like I said, I'm not getting paid to do what I do. As a matter of fact, I allocate my own funds to do what I'm doing right now. If I receive no funds from the GoFundMe account on the Evincible Vets, I'm going to still pursue and keep going on to help veterans, with my own funding, no matter what I have to do. And I'm never going to stop giving up on veterans to make sure that they have the right proper care. And it's like you said before, you're right. It takes, a few people to go out there and be advocates, and hope it's, 5 or 10 to come up and say, you know what, I want to do the same thing. And that's what we need. We do need that. And once that takes place and once people get on board with those people, then we're going to have a better system. And I just don't believe in sitting back complaining. I would I believe in sitting back questioning why the system is not working, so let's make it better. And I don't want to complain about it. I want to make a better system for us veterans. Like I said, we deserve this. We should have it, and there should not even be a question about what should be done. Get there and get it done. Bob McDonnell has stepped up, and everything that he said in his conference, his press conference, his speech, none of that is being implemented at the VA level. He has a great speech, but that's all he has is a great speech. The VA facilities are not operating according to what he has implemented. And that's why I just wrote him a letter today. It'll be mailed tomorrow. It's going out to him to voice my opinion about why is his voice is not being echoed in these VA systems, that you have not allowed the VA IG team to come in and get and help the whistleblowers. You're not even investigating why the documentation is being sent to Washington for congressional investigation, and you're not answering those things. So these are the things that Bob McDonnell needs to step up and do, and I can help him implement these. It's so easy. I've been 15 years in the military, 15 years in the VA system. That's 30 years experience. I can help them if they choose to. But, of course, like you said, the government wants to maintain control.
All right, so we are down to about 45 seconds. Once again, give everybody a quick heads up of all the different ways they can contact you should they choose to do so, sir.
If you want to contact me, you can contact me. I am Evincible Vets on the Square and Compass. We are located in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Evincible Vets on the Facebook. I'm Evincible Vets on the Twitter. And soon our page will, Facebook page, our internet page will be up also. That'll be up in about maybe 2 weeks. Once that's up, you can contact me and give me anything that you want to answer. Give me your questions. I'll answer them. If I can't answer it, I'll find it for you. I do have people in place that can help me.
All right. Well, it's been my pleasure having you sit on the show with us today. And again, I will probably have Jared reach out to you with some ideas that I kind of have percolating in the back of my head over the next couple of weeks, because I want to try to keep this pushing to the forefront, especially before your big event. I believe you said there was a protest in Arizona. What day again?
That's on November the 9th. That's 2 days before Veterans Day. And we chose that day to make sure that when people get the esteem built up for taking care of veterans and want to get involved with the veterans, we're making sure that it's going to take place right before Veterans Day. That's on Monday at 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., and that's on November the 9th, right in front of the Phoenix VA Medical Center.
All right. Well, at this point, folks, that is going to do it for this particular episode of America Off the Rails. I am your host, Rick Robinson. I'll be back with you live tomorrow night right here on K98Talk.com and our home network, the Spark Radio Network. Again, I have been joined tonight by Jared Day, my usual Monday co-host, and also the founder of Evincible Vets. If you're interested in trying to find a way to help him out, make sure you rewind the show, listen to how to get in touch with him, and make sure you do that. I'll be back with you guys next week. Or tomorrow, sorry. Wrong show.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over. When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.